This is probably going to be part one of a series of reels that or shorts that I want to do regarding the whole Canadian tariff US relationship thing. I have been watching a lot of YouTube, and it's a bit frustrating because there's a lot of people I think that really just don't understand what's going on. They know the facts, but they don't understand the repercussions. So, for this part one, I'm going to talk about the myths around the tariffs, which have been implemented by the US, and there have been retaliatory ones put in place by Canada. First of all, the fentanyl myth. I think we all know that, even the US people. I think you kind of know that's a bunch of BS. I don't think you've ever sat around with your buddies and said, gee, you know what? I sure wish we could fix that Canadian fentanyl problem, because there isn't one. Prior to all of this, the amount of fentanyl that came across the Canadian border into the States was less than 1% of the fentanyl that was in the States. Less than 1%. But as our Prime Minister said, we can always do better. So we implemented a series of things to strengthen our border. We announced that in December. We put in place, and Donnie said, yay, I did it. He didn't. We put it into place, and in January, less than half an ounce of fentanyl crossed the border. I'm sorry, I should be really clear on that. Less than half an ounce was seized at the border, whereas before it was less than 1%. Less than half an ounce. Now, I don't know a whole lot about fentanyl. I don't know a whole lot about that drug, but that doesn't sound like a whole lot to me. The issue is not the fentanyl. I think we can kind of all agree with that. Donnie also said that it's because one of the things, the way we're taking advantage of them, is that we won't let American banks in Canada. Bullshit. There are 16 American banks doing very well in Canada. So does nobody fact check what he says? I don't think anybody does. Certainly not his constituents, not the American people, the majority of American people. Tariffs are not a subsidy. He keeps saying we're propping up their economy and we're giving them this money. He is so uneducated. It hurts my head. It is not a subsidy. And oftentimes, the difference in import-exports is based on the fluctuating price of crude oil that we export to you. That drives up the dollar figures. We have a much smaller population. That affects the dollar issues. Then I hear a lot of people talking about, yeah, it's going to hurt Canada more than the US. Again, educate yourself. I don't know who's going to hurt more. I don't even want to bet on that. But there's some things that I think will surprise Americans. There are non-tariff things we can do, and we have already done. And we're hearing about it. We have pulled all American booze off of the shelves. The Premier of Ontario pointed out that Ontario is the single biggest importer of booze in the world. I thought it was an odd flex, but okay. We've already heard from American alcohol makers. They're saying it's an unreasonable retaliatory measure, blah, blah, blah. Talk to your president. Sorry, we supply more electricity to the United States than we get back from the United States. So there's talk about putting a 25% tariff on that. Did you know that consumer spending in the US is the largest driver of your economy? So the amount of money you spend in your country accounts for 70% of your economy. So you're out there buying things. Employment in that sector, in the retail sector, 16.4 million people. Of that 70% that you guys are buying, you're getting 14% from Canada. You're getting 20.6% from Canada for agriculture. You are getting lumber, steel, aluminum, potash for the farmers. There has even been talk about shutting off the electricity to the United States. So if grandma's hooked up to a ventilator, you better make sure you have a generator. It doesn't matter who hurts more. We're gonna hurt. Americans are gonna hurt. Canadians are gonna hurt. And we can sit here and debate all day who's gonna hurt more. It doesn't matter. We're both going to hurt because of your president. Because we've already ascertained there's absolutely no reason for those tariffs. Part two, I want to talk a little bit about militarization. Never thought I would ever see this day coming, but it's here.